A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, a little green Jedi Master changed the way we look at wisdom, power, and peace. His name was Yoda, but what many fans don't realize is that behind his slow speech, behind his mischievous smile and humble sighs, lies a deeply spiritual path, one that has shaped the hearts of millions, not just in the Star Wars universe, but in our own world too. This path is Buddhism. And today, we begin an extraordinary journey, a journey that traces the invisible threads of Buddhist wisdom through the stars, the Force, and the teachings of Master Yoda himself. Welcome to Buddha's Wisdom. I'm Peter, and this is the first chapter of our brand new series, The Dharma of Star Wars. Imagine this. You've crash-landed on a damp, murky planet called Dagobah. Your X-Wing is sinking into the bog. The air is thick. Strange creatures groan in the distance. And you're here for one reason, to find a Jedi Master who can teach you the ways of the Force. You're Luke Skywalker, young, angry, impatient. You want power, answers, victory. Instead, you find a curious, chuckling, wrinkled green being who steals your food, plays with your flashlight, and offers no sign of strength or mastery. That's how we meet Yoda. But like many real-life spiritual masters, especially in the Buddhist tradition, Yoda doesn't begin by showing power. He begins by unteaching. He challenges Luke's ego. He questions his certainty. He disrupts his expectations. Much like the Zen masters of old, Yoda teaches not by offering direct answers, but by flipping the student's perspective upside down. In one powerful moment, when Luke declares, "I don't believe it," after watching Yoda raise his ship from the swamp, Yoda replies with quiet conviction, "That is why you fail." This is not just Jedi training. This is the teaching of right view, one of the core foundations of the Buddhist Eightfold Path. In Buddhism, the Eightfold Path is a map to inner liberation. It includes right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. And if we look closely, Yoda doesn't just teach these, he embodies them. Right view. He sees beyond appearances. He knows the truth of the Force, not just as a power to be used, but as an interdependent web of all life. His vision is not clouded by desire or fear. Right intention. Yoda carries no hatred, no vengeance. Even when his fellow Jedi are wiped out, even when darkness rises, he does not act from anger. He waits. He watches. He trains, but never attacks out of emotion. Right speech. His words are few, wise, measured, poetic. Like the sayings of a Zen monk, he speaks only when necessary, and when he does, it cuts through illusion. Right action and livelihood. He lives simply. No throne, no temple, no followers. Just a swamp hut, a cooking pot, and the quiet of nature. His life is free from harm to others. He neither conquers nor consumes. Right effort. He doesn't push or force. He lets things unfold. His strength comes not from control, but from surrender. Right mindfulness and concentration. Yoda meditates in motion. He's always aware of the present moment, the emotions of others, and the subtle movements of the Force. Everything Yoda is reflects a life lived on the path. So what is the Force? It binds all things. It flows through every living being. It has a light side and a dark side, and it responds to your intentions. Sound familiar? In Buddhism, this concept is known as interdependence, also called pratyasamutpada. Nothing exists in isolation. Every thought, every action, every breath creates ripples. Karma is not some cosmic punishment. It's the natural unfolding of cause and effect. The Force, like dharma, cannot be owned. It can only be lived. And when Yoda says, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack, he echoes the same principle found in Buddhist ethics, to protect life, not to destroy it. The Jedi Code itself is rooted in detachment, discipline, and inner peace, key pillars of Buddhist monastic life. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Yoda. This is pure Buddhist psychology. In Buddhist teaching, dukkha, or suffering, arises from attachment, from clinging, from misunderstanding the nature of reality. Fear is not evil, it is a veil. Anger is not power, it is poison. Yoda reminds us that the path to true strength is not through resistance, but release. Luke Skywalker's real battle is never with Darth Vader, it's with himself. Just as Siddhartha Gautama faced inner temptation under the Bodhi tree, visions of fear, desire, and doubt, Luke must enter the dark cave on Dagobah and confront a vision of his own shadow. In the cave, he sees Darth Vader. He strikes him down, but when the helmet falls, he sees his own face inside. This is no action scene. This is meditation. This is vipassana, insight into the truth of self and suffering. Yoda doesn't intervene. He lets Luke walk into his own karma. Just as a spiritual teacher may guide you, but never walk your path for you. Luke's journey is not about defeating evil outside, it's about facing the fear, pride, and impatience within. This is the essence of the Buddhist path, the understanding that liberation comes not from changing the world, but from transforming your perception of it. In Buddhism, tanha, or craving, is the root of suffering. We cling to people, outcomes, identities. Anakin Skywalker is the perfect example. He fears loss, he clings to Padme, he wants control, and in trying to prevent death, he becomes death. Yoda warns him clearly, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. This isn't cold, it's compassionate. Yoda isn't telling Anakin not to love, he's telling him to love without possession, to care without control, to accept impermanence. This is a deeply Buddhist idea, that freedom doesn't mean not caring. It means caring deeply, but without grasping, without clinging, without turning love into fear. In the later films, we see Yoda again, older, more at peace. He laughs more. He embraces paradox. He even burns down the Jedi texts with a bolt of lightning. Why? Because Yoda, like any true master, evolves. He realizes that clinging to dogma is no different than clinging to desire, that even the Jedi must change. In this, he mirrors the middle way, the core of Buddha's teachings. Neither extreme asceticism nor indulgence, neither total control nor chaos, but a living path, a path of balance, a path of presence. So what do we do with all this? You don't have to be a Jedi, or a monk, or live in a swamp. But the wisdom of Yoda, the quiet teachings beneath his riddles, are as relevant today as ever. In a world of constant noise, we are all Luke, impatient, searching, reactive. And sometimes, if we're lucky, life sends us a Yoda, a friend, a teacher, a still small voice in the dark. Or maybe that Yoda lives within you, your own quiet awareness, reminding you to pause, to breathe, to feel the force that moves not just through galaxies, but through your very breath. So the next time you feel anger rise, or fear pull you under, remember the swamp, remember the cave, remember the old master with wrinkled eyes and a knowing smile, and ask yourself, what would Yoda do? Or better yet, what would Buddha see? It's just a beginning. Because the story doesn't end in the swamp of Dagobah. It stretches back before Yoda, before Luke, into the rise and fall of another Jedi, a boy who was once innocent, hopeful, gifted, loved. His name was Anakin Skywalker, but we know him as something else, Darth Vader. His fall is one of the most heartbreaking arcs in cinema, but through a Buddhist lens, it becomes even more than that. It becomes a teaching, a living sutra on the dangers of craving, identity, and fear. Anakin's story isn't about a villain. It's about a soul trapped in the cycle of suffering, samsara. And maybe in him, we see parts of ourselves. When we first meet Anakin, he's just a child, a slave on Tatooine, building droids out of scrap, dreaming of freedom. The Jedi Council calls him the Chosen One, someone destined to bring balance to the Force. But in Buddhism, destiny is never fixed. There is no divine script, only karma, only the echo of choices, ours and those of others. From the start, Anakin is burdened. Expectations are placed on his shoulders like armor. He is told he is powerful, special, different. In Buddhist terms, this creates mana, a form of ego pride, not always arrogant, but separating. And separation is the root of all suffering. When a child is told he is meant to be more than others, he begins to fear what it means to be less. Anakin doesn't grow up with mindfulness. He grows up with fear. Fear of loss, fear of insignificance, fear of failure. And where there is fear, there's the seed of the dark side. In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin begins having visions. He sees Padme, his secret wife, dying in childbirth. The fear grips him. But Yoda says something deeply Buddhist in response. The fear of loss is a path to the dark side. Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them not, miss them not. Attachment leads to jealousy, the shadow of greed that is. This teaching could come straight from the Buddha himself. In Buddhism, the cause of suffering is tanha, craving. We crave security, certainty, love that won't leave, bodies that won't age, people that won't die. But everything changes, everything ends. Anakin cannot accept this. He wants to stop death. He wants to control the future. And in trying to escape suffering, he creates more of it. This is the great paradox. The harder we cling, the more pain we invite. Anakin clings to Padme, and he loses her. He clings to power, and becomes enslaved by it. In Buddhist lore, the demon Mara visits the Buddha under the Bodhi tree. He tempts him with fear, desire, and doubt. He offers him power, and the Buddha, unmoved, simply says, "I see you, Mara." In Star Wars, Palpatine is Anakin's Mara. He whispers in his ear. He promises to end death, to grant power, to stop pain. But instead of saying, "I see you," Anakin listens. He becomes what he fears. This is how karma unfolds, not as punishment, but as momentum. Action feeding reaction, pain becoming more pain. But here's the thing, even Mara cannot bind someone who wakes up. When Anakin fully becomes Darth Vader, he wears a black mask, breathes mechanically, speaks with a voice no longer his own. He has become a symbol. But in Buddhism, identity is an illusion. We are not our roles, not our titles, not even our mistakes. What Anakin forgot is that behind every form, there's still awareness. Even in Vader, there is still Anakin. Even in darkness, the light is never destroyed. This is a vital Buddhist truth. No one is beyond redemption. No one is permanently stained. Even the darkest karma can be transformed, not erased, but understood. In the final duel, Luke defeats Vader. He has the chance to strike him down, but he doesn't. He throws away his lightsaber and says, "I am a Jedi, like my father before me." This isn't just a victory, this is liberation. Not from the Empire, but from hatred, from vengeance. Luke breaks the cycle. He acts as a bodhisattva would, not by killing the villain, but by seeing through the illusion of the villain entirely. He sees the wounded child inside the armor, the Anakin behind the Vader, and in doing so, he awakens him. This is ultimate compassion, the willingness to love what the world says is unlovable, and that love saves them both. As Anakin dies, he looks into his son's eyes and says, "You were right about me. Tell your sister you were right." He dies not in hatred, but in peace. This is a kind of nirvana, not an escape from pain, but the release of false identity. Anakin is no longer clinging, no longer trapped. His face is visible. His voice is his own. He becomes light once more. In Buddhist thought, this is possible for anyone. Even the most lost can be found. Even the most tangled karma can find stillness, if there is awareness, humility, and compassion. So what does this all mean for us? We may never hold a lightsaber. We may never face Sith Lords or feel the Force physically surge through us. But we do face fear. We do struggle with craving. We do carry wounds and wear masks and forget who we are. The path of Star Wars isn't just a space opera. It's a map of the human journey, from illusion to awakening, from fear to love, from identity to presence. Every one of us has both Anakin and Yoda inside. So next time you watch Star Wars, look deeper. Behind the lightsabers and starships is a quiet teaching.